For as long as anyone can remember, well, at least 108 years, the community of St. Charles has, in one way or another, sought encounter with the true love of God, tried to listen, not just with ears, but with our hearts, with the intention to truly discern God's ideas for each and every one of us. There are no less than 7 persons, though while completely invisible, have, for as long as we can remember, formed and shaped our extraordinary community and brought us to this very point. These persons, they never grow old, and they will remain with us forever. And of course, we are grateful to them. You know them, for you have surely encountered each one of them here in subtle ways. And I'm quite sure that most of you have taken 1 or 2 of them home now and again over the years. Who are these persons? I can't believe you have to ask. For this very month, you have named each of them and described in detail their influence as you responded to Pope Francis' invitation to dialogue with him about your experience of faith and church. So allow me to reacquaint you with these extraordinary persons and how each has inspired you, all of us, to speak up with truth, honesty, love, integrity, challenge, commitment, and extraordinary insight. For as long as we can remember, the community of St. Charles has encountered dove, darting in and out of the creases and folds of both the ordinary and extraordinary events of our lives. Here is some of what you have said in recent comments, clearly inspired by dove, the Holy Spirit. I'm struck by ways that God reminds me that I do matter in this world, in this life. The church is doing some things right. The church does a lot of good in the world, but it also fails when it loses sight of Jesus' message. For as long as anyone can remember, we, the community of St. Charles, have recognized Sophia, permeating our lives with insight into the mysteries and struggles we encounter. Here is what some of you have said in your recent comments, clearly inspired by the wisdom of Sophia. I feel like a leaf on God's vast cosmic tree, connected to the immense family of all God's works. God listens to my prayers and gives me wisdom when I most need it. When I was a child, the church was magical for me. I loved the rituals and looked forward to receiving the sacraments. As I got older, I began to question. As a young adult, the church was pretty much separate from my notion of God. For as long as anyone can remember, we, the community of St. Charles, have recognized Leo, showing up at just the right moments to reveal his courage in the face of challenge. Here is what some of you have said in your recent comments, clearly inspired by Leo's courage. As a gay man, I realized I am what I am, and that's just how God made me. And at St. Charles, the people always support me. Affirmation is akin to God in my life. I had to leave the church to find spirituality. I'm feeling punished for non-priest people delivering the homily. That hurt my heart, and I believe it hurt God's heart too. Enough with this clericalism. Get out of the fancy robes and high hats and embrace the smell of the sheep. God is and always has been present to me through the love, friendship, and support of the holy men and women who have been brave enough to share their stories of struggle, love, and redemption. For as long as anyone can remember, we, the community of St. Charles, have recognized Eve, woman, ever present, ever strong, and always with a voice, speaking up for the sake of all women. Here is what some of you have said in your recent comments, clearly inspired by Eve. The most important issue that the church needs to address is to find ways of being more inclusive of women in the functioning of the church and liturgy. Women need to be allowed to take on more responsibilities and leadership and not be subjugated merely to submissive roles. How about treating women as if they were of some value and not second-class citizens or second-class beings? We should break down the barricades of stultifying tradition and allow women into the priesthood. Not to be insulting, but it seems like a no-brainer. Let women resume the power they had in the beginning of the church. For as long as anyone can remember, we, the community of St. Charles, have recognized Clara in her advocacy as she empowers us to be a voice for the voiceless, visible for those unseen, and a staunch supporter of those downtrodden. Here is what some of you have said in your response, in your recent comments, clearly inspired by the advocate, Clara. St. Charles shows how I can live out the words of Jesus. My church makes me a better person. It is good and just. It offers safety. It is my rock. It makes me strong. It allows me to help others. St. Charles has been a lifesaver and my soul saver. Jesus is not worried about who gives the homily, but rather who takes care of the marginalized. Why wash the feet of those who only have clean feet? They blessed me and my family because 2 years ago we couldn't afford any gifts, but then on Christmas Eve, we were blessed with abundant gifts. For as long as anyone can remember, we, the community of St. Charles, have recognized Verita, the truth teller, as she calls it, as she sees it, and speaks the truth to power. Here's what some of you have said in your recent comments, clearly inspired by Verita, the truth teller. As for experiences of the Catholic Church that have wounded me, they mostly come from higher up, administration, bishop, archdiocese. They have been impersonal and insensitive yet spoken in an authoritarian manner as if they know what is best for us more than we know ourselves. Obviously, these people made these statements have never been to our parish. I feel out of sync with aspects of the universal church and quite in sync with the practices of St. Charles. Sheep need to be part of the decisions and rules of the church. I do not feel welcome and accepted in the Catholic Church. I feel anxious and afraid of doing something wrong and being judged. It's hard to relate to the question of joy. I don't associate joy with the Catholic Church. I cannot say that the church has brought me any joy at all. My brother was molested and raped by 2 priests, and my foster brother was in a Catholic orphanage and was badly damaged there. As a child, I kept looking for that connection to God. I expected it in First Communion. I expected it in confirmation. Nothing. The only thing I got from the church was to learn how to be angry. Clean up your act. That's what you can do to make changes. Clean your own garbage out before you start teaching other people how to do it. Clean up your anger. Clean up your priests. Clean up your hearts and your souls. Stop pretending that you know the way when you have not found it yourselves. Catch up to 2022. For as long as anyone can remember, we at St. Charles have gathered around Carlos himself, for he is the community enveloping us just when we need it most and feeding us, literally, when we are most hungry. Here is some of what you have said in your recent comments, clearly inspired by Carlos' vision of community. The experiences of the Catholic Church that have brought me joy are mostly tied up in being part of a community where I have felt that I belong, where I am welcomed, accepted, where I can thrive and grow and make a contribution. St. Charles is one of these places. Ever since I first came, I felt like I was home. My small parish always welcomes me and others, no matter what, just as Jesus did. Sunday Mass revitalizes my faith and my faith in humanity. I enjoy attending Saturday late afternoon Mass at St. Charles because it is intimate and meditative. I look forward to Sunday. For as long as anyone can remember, we, the community of St. Charles, have recognized joy as she moves among us, sprinkling us with moments of delight and insight. Here is what some of you have said in your recent comments, clearly inspired by joy. Feeling God is surrounding me in church, this particular church, having multicultural people actively participating, having multicultural languages. This is the first church I have ever felt I have been heard. And the priest is amazing. I'm a Catholic convert, and I feel like I found a home. The people I have grown to love and feel supported by are always there. When my husband and then my youngest son passed away, the support I had was amazing and made a tough thing bearable. St. Charles has brought me joy. Raised in a conservative parish, living the letter of the law, not the spirit, here I found something different and felt completely accepted. So this is our story. The good, the bad, the happy, the sad, the pain, the healing, all of it. There is no one quote that captures it all. As a small community, though, we have a big voice. More than 75 people contributed nearly 300 comments, all from the heart, all sincere, all compelling. And altogether, this is the heartbeat of our community. And I can tell you that I submitted all 300 of these comments today to the Vatican, and I got a response back in the emails that basically said, "Thank you very much. We have received your input." And it came in 4 different languages. And I sent all 300 comments to the Archdiocese and got a response, a personal response back from Todd Cooper. "Thank you very much. This is terrific. We have been heard." So while there is no one quote that captures it all, I want to end with this simple, straightforward one. St. Charles is the joy of my life. The word of the people.